The prevailing narrative in Australian media suggests that men perpetrate violence against women, rarely the other way round. Those who challenge this perspective often face swift consequences. For instance, Fiona Girkin, an associate lecturer in policing at the University of Tasmania, who teaches police recruits about domestic violence, recently stated in an interview, "It's not males that are the offenders, it's equally both men and women, and that's something that's certainly coming back from all levels of policing that they're telling me." This statement did not sit well with the powers that be. According to the ABC, Tasmania Police responded by effectively suspending her from police training, stating, "Dr. Gerkin will not be involved in police training courses until a further assessment of the matter has been completed by UTAS with input from Tasmania Police." Of course, we all know that women, like anyone else, are capable of committing violence. A chilling example is the recent case of Corbie Jean Walpole. The ABC reported, "Woman doused friend in fuel, set him alight for misogynistic comment." In January last year, during a night of heavy drinking and drug use in Howlong, New South Wales, 24-year-old Walpole was partying with friends, including her longtime friend, 23-year-old Jake Loader. Throughout the night, Loader allegedly antagonised Walpole, attempting to wrestle her and disrupt her sleeping boyfriend. Matters escalated when Loader remarked that she should stay in the kitchen, making scones, instead of drinking with the boys. Feeling overwhelmed, Walpole left the table, retrieved a 5-litre petrol container from her garage and poured fuel over Loader before brandishing a lighter. When Loader dared her to ignite it, she did. As a result, he suffered life-threatening burns to 55% of his body, was in an induced coma for 8 days, endured a 74-day hospital stay in a burns unit, and underwent 10 operations. Walpole pleaded guilty to burning or maiming by using a corrosive fluid. Her defence argued that depression, substance abuse, and antagonistic behaviour from Loader contributed to her violent response. The Crown prosecution, however, countered that she had ample opportunity to walk away, but instead chose to escalate the situation. Expressing deep remorse, Walpole tearfully stated in court, "To this day, I feel horrible, remorseful, guilty for what I have done to Jake. Not only to Jake, but to his family, his loved ones, his mutual friends, anyone impacted by this case. I find it very hard to believe the injuries were caused by my doing. I would do anything to go back in time. No one deserves what happened to Jake, and I can't imagine the pain, both physically and emotionally, that I've caused him and his family." Mr. Loader can no longer expose his skin to the sun and struggles with temperature regulation due to the destruction of his sweat glands. His injuries resulted in financial strain, affecting both himself and his family. In a statement, he wrote, "This attack did not only hurt me, it hurt everyone who cared about me." Walpole was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison and will be eligible for parole in November 2029. Judge Jennifer English stated, "I find that the assault upon the victim was unprovoked and particularly violent. This was nothing short of alcohol and/or drug-fueled violence. It is never easy to send a young person, particularly a young woman, to jail, but where appropriate, it is something that must be done." Notably, she said nothing about gendered violence, something likely to have been emphasised had the roles been reversed. This was a horrific crime, and I sincerely wish Mr. Loader the best. However, what Walpole did is inexcusable. While Loader's comment was crass, at what point should offensive words warrant physical retribution, let alone an act of deadly violence? Her response was not only disproportionate, but utterly unjustified. Had Walpole merely slapped Loader, it would still have been wrong, yet likely would not have resulted in her imprisonment, or even been reported at all. Instead, she made the conscious decision to retrieve petrol from her garage, douse her longtime friend, and set him on fire. Anyone who knowingly burns another person with petrol would surely understand that it could result in their death, not to mention the excruciating pain and suffering involved. It is a horrific act. This sounds like attempted murder, a crime punishable by up to 25 years in prison in New South Wales. Walpole is fortunate to have been convicted of a lesser offence, meaning she could walk free in just over 4 years. Just a few weeks ago, a woman in Toowoomba, Queensland, was charged with murder after allegedly setting a house fire that claimed the lives of 3 of her children. What an equally horrible crime. I'm not suggesting that women are inherently violent, but instead of fixating on narratives that vilify men, perhaps it's time for a more balanced discussion on violence, one that acknowledges wrongdoing regardless of gender.